The neon lights of Sector 7's marketplace flickered against the endless night of the space station, casting strange shadows across species from 100 worlds. Anakin adjusted his worn jacket and checked his credits barely enough for another week's rations. Earth's colony ships had brought humans here 3 years ago, desperate and poor, seeking work among the galactic community that had barely acknowledged their existence. He was heading back to his cramped quarters when he heard it a trembling voice from the alley between 2 vendor stalls. "Excuse me, human." Anakin turned. In the shadows sat a small figure, no more than chest high, with iridescent blue skin that shimmered like oil on water. Large, luminous eyes, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle, stared up at him with desperate hope. She was clearly a Vorantine child, one of the wealthy merchant species that dominated this sector. But her clothes were torn, and she clutched something in her 6-fingered hands. Anakin said cautiously, crouching down to her level. The little alien girl held out her hands, revealing 2 crumpled Earth dollar bills. Her translator device crackled as she spoke. "My mum. She left me here. She said I was too expensive, too much trouble. This is all she left. $2. Her middle eye blinked, releasing a bioluminescent tear. Will you be my dad for $2? Anakin's heart clenched. He'd seen desperation before humanity had practically invented it during the resource wars, but seeing it in a child's eyes, alien or not, hit differently. "Kid, he stopped, truly looking at her. The Vorantines were known for their obsessive genetic perfection. A child with even minor defects was often ... discarded. He noticed now that her left arm was slightly withered. Underdeveloped. "What's your name?" "Amidala," she whispered. Something in Anakin broke and reformed in that moment. He thought of Earth, of the families shattered by war and poverty, of children who'd had no one. Humanity had been the underdogs, the weaklings of the galaxy, too soft, too emotional, too attached to things like compassion and parenthood. The other species had mocked them for it. Maybe it was time to show them what that weakness really meant. "Keep your $2, Amidala," Anakin said, standing up and extending his hand. "You're gonna need it for ice cream or whatever Vorantine kids like. Consider yourself adopted." Her 3 eyes widened in disbelief. But humans barely survive here. You have nothing." "Why would you?" "Because that's what we do," Anakin said simply. "Come on. Let's get you home." The following weeks tested every ounce of Anakin's resolve. His quarters were barely large enough for 1, let alone 2. He worked double shifts at the docking bay, his human endurance once mocked as primitive stubbornness. Now, his greatest asset. Other species needed rest cycles. Anakin had learned to function on 4 hours of sleep. Amidala was brilliant. Once she had food, safety, and someone who didn't see her withered arm as a defect, she flourished. She taught Anakin about Vorantine tech, and he taught her about human resilience, about never giving up, about family meaning more than blood. But their happiness drew attention. 1 cycle. Anakin returned home to find 2 Vorantine officials at his door toll, imposing. Their skin the deep purple of nobility. "Human Anakin Reeves," one said, checking a data. "You are harboring Amidala 7, a defective unit discarded by her genetic line. She must be returned for proper disposal." Disposal? Anakin's voice went cold. "She's a child, not a broken machine. She is genetically impure. Vorantine law is clear." The official reached for Amidala, who'd hidden behind Anakin. Anakin's hand shot out, gripping the official's wrist with surprising strength. Years of manual labor had made him stronger than the bureaucrat expected. "You're not taking her. You have no legal standing. You're barely citizens here yourselves. Then we'll see about that." Anakin did something desperate. He called in every favor, contacted every human on the station. Within hours, the story spread. A human adopted an alien child abandoned by her own species. The galactic community, so used to seeing humans as weak, watched in fascination. Captain Maria Chen, leader of the Earth colony, marched into the station's council chambers with 100 humans behind her. "We're invoking Article 7 of the Galactic Charter, the right of sanctuary. Amidala is under human protection now." The council chamber erupted. Varentine representatives protested, but other species who'd also been looked down upon, who'd seen their own caste aside, began to speak up. A grizzled Keltorian merchant, his scales scarred from years of trade wars, stood. "I've done business with humans for 3 years. They're stubborn, inefficient, and foolishly emotional." He paused. "But they're the only species I've ever seen who'll fight for someone else's child with the same ferocity they'd fight for their own. If that's weakness, then perhaps we've all been strong in the wrong ways." The vote came. Humanity's petition was granted. Amidala was legally recognized as Anakin's daughter. 5 years later, Anakin stood at the graduation ceremony for the station's first Interspecies Academia human initiative that had revolutionized how the galaxy saw families. Amidala, now 13 by Earth years, stood at the podium as valedictorian, her withered arm supporting her as she spoke confidently about unity and found families. "My human dad taught me something," she said, her 3 eyes shining. "He taught me that love isn't about perfection or genetics. It's about choosing each other every day, no matter how hard it gets." She held up to preserve dollar bills in a frame. He could have walked away. Instead, he showed me what it means to be family. Anakin wiped his eyes, humans and their excessive emotions, as the galaxy used to say. But now, looking around the chamber, he saw Varentines, Keltorians, and dozens of other species, many with tears in their own eyes. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy with weapons or technology. They'd done something far more radical. They'd taught it how to love unconditionally. As Amidala finished her speech and ran to embrace him, Anakin realized the truth. Humans weren't the weakest species in the galaxy. They were the ones who'd make it stronger, and it had all started with a little girl. $2, and the very human belief that every child deserves a chance, no matter which world they're from.